another question, if it's fine.
Yeah. Okay, because that wasn't really a question. So okay, fine.
Yeah, that wasn't a question, but another question I've been thinking about was, when you see these, like China, Japan, South Korea, Germany, you know, they have been through wars, and they have, mashallah, they have big economic growth. And I wanted to ask, um, why do Muslims not try to replicate their methods? You know.
Well, look, I mean, to be honest with you, this is an old question now. Muslims have had economic growth more so than the rest of the world for a very long time.
Mm,
I mean, you have to appreciate that after World War One and Two, but World War One in particular, the Muslim world went through a very transformative process with the collapse of the Ottoman Empire. Now, after that happened and the colonial reality, this really did change the way that the Muslim world would operate. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, this shows and proves the fact that China and Japan are doing so well. There's nothing to
yeah.
do with ideology. It's nothing to do with Western ideology.
Even India, it's
Yeah,
Hindutva.
yeah,
And also something else to keep in mind, brother. I think it's a generalization which the certain right wing Western outlets put out, that the
Yeah.
Muslim world is economically underdeveloped.
yeah.
Anyway, anyone who has that kind of idea ringing in their head, I would ask them to go to Istanbul, to go to Izmir, to go to Anatolia, to go to these places. Look at Turkey, look at this modern state.
Malaysia.
Go to Malaysia. Look at okay, for example, you're in Denmark.
Yeah.
You got Denmark, you got Sweden, you got Norway. Why are they doing so well? A lot of it has to do with their natural resources, because they manage their natural resources in a very effective way. Well, guess who else manage their resources in a very effective way? Many Middle Eastern states. And what we also find is that there are other countries in the next 50 years, will probably be gone by then, next 50 years, who are going to be very powerful modern Muslim states, such as Nigeria. Nigeria is actually one of those economic powerhouses, which is in the next couple of decades projected to be a hub of trade, of all types of businesses. And you find this in these places. And what you actually, so just one more thing. What's very important for economic growth is a pyramid type of demographic, where the young people vastly outnumber the old people. Right? And what we actually find is we have that model in the Muslim world. We don't have it in China. We don't have it in Japan. China released its statistics recently, and they dropped from a few years ago. They had 20 billion new births to something like 8 or 10 million. So actually, they're going down. In Japan, there's more adult nappies than children's nappies. And we find here in Europe the same problem, that we actually don't have the pyramid. We have the inverted pyramid, right? And so what we find is in the Muslim world, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Nigeria, Pakistan, we find that the youth is vastly more than the elderly. And give it basic economics, over a couple of decades, you're going to see vast economic growth. But we should never ever link economic growth to truth, to ideology, because as Hijab pointed out, we got communism in China. Well, you can say it's capitalistic type of communism, which is leading to its growth. In India, they have a totally different metaphysical idea. They believe in all these different idolatrous things, yet they're still successful. So it's not just the Western world. And
also, if you pound for pound, if you look at, for example, why do we always we link Christianity and or like Western ideology with European countries? Or look at Latin America, for example, and Sub-Saharan Africa.
Good, very good.
So Latin America is a pound for pound not doing better than the Muslim world. GDP per capita is not doing better than the Muslim world is. Like, compare the Middle Eastern states with the Latin American states, you won't find a huge disparity in GDP per capita. In fact, you'll find that some of the Middle Eastern states are far outperforming them GDP per capita. And
a lot of the reasons for their lack of success is to do with colonization by America against Latin America. So again, we have to realize that
same thing with a lot of Sub-Saharan African non-Muslim majority states. So you've got a lot of like Christian majority in Sub-Saharan African states. A lot of them have introduced like so-called human rights type policies, and they're well underperforming.
And you know something is very interesting.
Muslim states,
when the Muslims had their last caliphate, when we had the Ottoman Empire, before that the Abbasids and the Umayyads, and even other Sokoto Empire, all these empires that existed, the Muslims never ever turned around and said to the other world countries, oh, because we're economically rich or scientifically advanced, therefore we're speaking the truth, because we knew the truth had nothing to do with these things. So it's a very crude argument that's being used by the other side. And history, we have cycles, right? And what we need to do is we need to remember that
Quran says that these are the days that we alternate between the people.
And I just want to highlight something, brother Khalid, and Hijab can maybe agree or disagree with this. It's not haqq, it's not fact, it's just an anecdotal thing to think about. What we find is that in the Muslim world, the richest segments of society spread the most fasad. They spread the most sin. They are usually the most secular, the most religious are actually the people who are poorer. So imagine if a country which has that type of moral outlook is fueled in a way that everyone becomes rich, like a particular European state. What you'll find is the percentage of people who are into that fitna and fasad will just increase massively.
Yeah, no, there's true.
So maybe it's a protection.
There is a correlative.
But it wasn't true in the past. Yeah.
There's a correlative relationship between those countries with the most war and these kinds of things and religiosity. Like, for example, Somalia is the best example. It's one of the best examples. Like, if you look at how Somalis and Afghanis and Iraqis in particular, these three nations, but let's just say Afghanis and Somalis in particular, yeah, how they answer on like Pew research forums on questions related to Islamic law, they're the closest to the traditionalist system. Like, so in many ways, you could say that they have stuck to the religion the most. And that is it's because sometimes in Bala, in situations of trial, sometimes it can be the case, and that can cause you to be most introspective. So one thing that could look bad to us in this dunya can be very good for us in the akhirah. And that's another dimension of things we have to look at. وعسى أن تكرهوا شيئا وهو خير لكم وعسى أن تحبوا شيئا وهو شر لكم والله أعلم وأنتم لا تعلمون. You could hate something that's good for you, and you could love something that's bad for you, and Allah knows, and you don't know. So for us, it's not a matter of that. And in a nutshell, we don't care too much. I mean, there is an impetus. I'm not saying that we should not be successful, if you like, so quote unquote, or performing well in these indicators. But for us, it's not the gharad. It's not like we don't have an American dream in that respect. You get me?
I think that's a great way of ending the stream, bro.
Habibi, let's end it here.
Thank you for taking my call and